And I would like to welcome everybody to our first 2023 virtual colloquium. We have two terrific speakers today, Dr. Sarah Papa and Dr. Kathy Elrod. They are both faculty at Marymount University, and they are going to be sharing their experiences about addressing falls through community academic partnerships. This was a project funded by a federal grant, and they have played a very pivotal role in this project, which has been in progress for the last several years. So we're going to be having a presentation from them for the first 30 minutes, and we will take questions at the end of the session. I would like to request everyone to mute themselves, and we're also going to be recording this session and making it available to everybody later on. So with that, I'm going to now turn it over to Kathy and Sarah.
Thank you, Uma, and welcome everyone. We are very excited to be here, excited to see everyone who is joining us today. I am Sarah Papa, Assistant Professor at Marymount University in the Health and Human Performance Program. I've been with the Falls Prevention Project here at Marymount since late 2017, and I serve as a master trainer for both SAIL and Matter of Balance, two of the programs we're going to be talking about today. I'm a member of a fabulous project team that has been working on this for several years, and I'd like to mention a few of our colleagues in addition to Dr. Elrod and myself, and that is Dr. Rita Wong, Dr. Patricia Hain, Dr. Julie Reese, Dr. Diana Venskis, Dr. Uma Kellikar, our regional training coordinator, Leanne Canute, our outreach assistant, Carmen Pastor. And my co-presenter today, Dr. Kathy Elrod, I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, welcome everyone. I am Dr. Kathy Elrod. I am a professor in the physical therapy program here at Marymount University. I have been a part of the project since its inception in 2016. I was a part of the original grant team group, and I am also a master trainer for SAIL and a Matter of Balance, and I'm also a certified leader for the Otago exercise program. Great to have you all here.
All right. First, let's start with what our learning objectives are for today's session. We are going to share with you about how evidence-based falls prevention programs were delivered in a community in which none were previously located. We're going to explain how an academic community partnership was developed and maintained to enhance collaboration across community members in the Northern Virginia and surrounding areas. And we're going to look at some key lessons learned from this implementation of this community health promotion project. I think Dr. Kellikar mentioned earlier that our work is federally funded through two grants that we've received from the Administration for Community Living. We received an initial grant back in 2016, and that was really to get this work started, to work on embedding those 3 evidence-based falls prevention programs into the community, as well as create the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Network. And then we received a second round of funding in 2018, which was really designed to let us expand and enhance the work that we had been doing, working more towards that community academic partnership, and really looking to help us find ways to sustain this work beyond the life of the grant. Because of COVID, we applied for and received 2 one-year no-cost extensions. So that allowed us to continue this work for 2 additional years with that initial amount of funding. So we are on our 7th year, and our current round of funding takes us through this June 2023. We mentioned our region. We're in the Northern Virginia region outside of Washington, D.C. The initial grant was to cover the counties of Arlington, Fairfax, and Loudoun, and the city of Alexandria. And then with our second round of funding, we were able to expand our efforts into Prince William County, Washington, D.C., and parts of Maryland. And so this graphic just sort of shows you where in Virginia we are, and of course, Washington, D.C. just to our east, as well as parts of Maryland. And again, when we started this work back in 2016, there were 0 evidence-based falls prevention programs in the region. Kathy.
Thanks. So as our title indicated, a community academic partnership model was used in the development and the implementation of these programs. And it was through this partnership that these evidence-based falls prevention programs were introduced to and implemented by senior-focused organizations in our region. Community academic partnerships have been described as the coming together of diverse interests and people to achieve a common purpose via interactions, information sharing, and coordination activities. THROUGHCOMMUNITY and colleagues state that community academic partnerships are characterized by equitable control, a cause that is primarily relevant to the community of interest, specific aims to achieve those goals, and it involves community members that have knowledge about the cause and academic researchers. So in 2016, community advocates from local senior serving organizations in our region identified that there was a lack of falls prevention programming, and it was really a significant unmet need. When those community organizations and advocates identified a grant opportunity to build a regional network, they reached out to Marymount University. And so the academic partnership occurred through faculty engagement at Marymount University in Arlington, Virginia, and community partners from the region that Dr. Papa just described. So now I'm going to move into our project elements. So 5 key interdependent project elements emerged when we reflected on the process of getting these new programs introduced to and delivered within the community. Success or failure of any one of these 5 elements impacted the other elements, and all 5 elements required concurrent focus, particularly in our early years of this infrastructure building that we did. So let's talk about the first one. The first one is fostering ongoing community organization collaboration. Initially, the 17 community partners that collaborated on the initial grant proposal became a steering committee. They met quarterly to guide program implementation and to establish this sort of permanent network of community groups. The organizations were varied, and they included the area agencies on aging, hospital centers, senior community centers, residential living communities, parks and recreation departments, adult day center, 3 local neighborhood villages, and community volunteers, just to name a few. Within a year, the steering committee was formalized into the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance, which is open to all senior serving groups and individuals interested in facilitating falls prevention efforts in our region. It also became the founding member of the statewide Virginia Arthritis and Falls Prevention Coalition. So the second project element is introducing programs into the community. So 3 evidence-based falls prevention programs were chosen to provide interventions to older adults across a wide range of functional abilities and falls risk. So SAIL is Stay Active and Independent for Life. It is a multi-component exercise and fitness education program for older adults who are at low to moderate risk for falling. It's a 1-hour fitness class. It meets at least 2 times a week. It's led by certified lay leaders, and it leads to improved strength, balance, and performance of daily living for individuals living within the community. So A Matter of Balance is a cognitive restructuring program. It's for older adults more at that moderate to high risk of fallings. It is an 8-week program that runs for 2 hours. It uses cognitive behavioral approaches designed to reduce the fear of falling. And it also helps to familiarize older adults with some balance-specific exercises. It is led by 2 trained coaches, and it does lead to reduced fear of falling and avoidance behaviors, and can increase balance confidence. The final program that we chose was the Otago exercise program. And it's an exercise program for older adults that more at the high end or a higher risk of falling. It consists of 17 strength and balance exercises and a walking program. It's traditionally delivered by a physical therapist, but it has expanded into group-based community classes. It also leads to improved lower leg strength, balance, fitness, and self-confidence. So SAIL, though, was the first program that we implemented into the community because many programs already, or many sites offered programs that were already exercise-based, they were fitness programs, and they were for older adults. A Matter of Balance was introduced secondly, and then finally Otago was introduced about 2 years later, and that was because it was more difficult to find implementation sites for it. The third project element is growing and sustaining delivery sites. So once the programs were chosen, it was critical to find ways to get the 3 programs into the community. They were new to the region and very few people were actually familiar with them. So thus a key component of the project's implementation was growing the number of sites willing to deliver these programs. So a part-time marketing coordinator was hired to create marketing materials and a marketing campaign to reach out to organizations. And initially, our target group were community sites that actually had a history of implementing health promotion programs. In-person visits to community organizations by the project staff, which included myself and another faculty member at Marymount University, as well as a marketing coordinator, occurred to provide education about the programs and the benefits of delivering them. We answered questions and we helped to problem solve real or perceived barriers to program implementation. And then finally, a database was created, and this was of potential and active sites, and it was regularly updated to track all communications and recruitment efforts. The fourth project element is preparing trained program leaders. It was essential to have sufficient and ongoing pipeline of trained leaders to support the 3 programs. So the first step was to train master trainers for SAIL and A Matter of Balance so they could actually lead local program leader training workshops. So faculty at Marymount University on the academic side took on these roles. The next step was to develop a mechanism to deliver these ongoing trainings. So thus the regional training office was created and is housed at Marymount University. A part-time regional training coordinator was hired, and the coordinator assists with the logistics of setting up trainings, managing communications with interested individuals, and maintaining a registry of trained leaders in the region. Services provided via the regional training office included training academy for SAIL and A Matter of Balance, assistance with the implementation of new programs, a speakers bureau for community education on falls prevention, and direction for Otago certification, as Otago leader training occurs through an online asynchronous training program offered at another academic institution at another university. Training costs have been kept low thanks to grant funding, and we charge a modest fee really to cover the cost of supplies. And the final project element is building community demand for programs. Marketing the programs was essential as none existed prior to this initiative. Project staff, primarily on the academic side of the partnership, provided lectures and falls risk screening activities for older adults, hosted informational booths at health fairs, distributed flyers, and posted announcements on senior focused websites and newsletters, which then became the community side of the partnership. Information about falls and falls prevention programs, especially the 3 programs we were providing, were shared with senior ambassadors, who are community volunteers who championed the initiative and their programs. Sites implementing the programs also had a major responsibility for marketing to their target audience and encouraging participation. The Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance website also shared information about programs and where they were being delivered to the community. So as you can see, these 5 project elements are interconnected and essential components of getting these programs delivered within the community. So next, we want to share some of our successes. So all Administration for Community Living evidence-based falls prevention program grantees were required to enter program data into a National Falls Data Repository. Program leaders were asked to voluntarily assist in the data collection, And as collection of the data was not a component of any of the programs, but a requirement of the grant funding agency, participation was encouraged, but it wasn't required. And this project was approved through the Institutional Review Board at Marymount University. So the target population was community dwelling older adults. So from August 2016 through June of 2022, using the data we were able to collect, we discovered that almost 6,000 older adults participated in one of the 3 programs. Overall, 33% of the participants completed the pre-program participant survey. So of that, we were able to identify that of the older adults who completed that survey, 93% were over the age of 65 years old, and 64% had at least 2 chronic conditions. Through June of 2022, there were 157 SAIL classes offered at 33 sites. And there were 57 matter of balance workshops offered at 31 sites. And over 70% of them occurred at community or senior centers. So right there, you can see where the bulk of the implementation sites were located. The Otago exercise program was offered at 4 sites, and that included a community day health program, a senior center, and 2 residential living facilities. Also through June of 2022, the Northern Virginia Falls Prevention Alliance had over 135 members. And these came from a variety of organizational structures, such as community-based nonprofits, home care, community centers, physical therapy and occupational therapy clinics, AAAs, assisted living communities, just to name a few. So now back to Dr. Papa, who will share some of the lessons we learned.
Thank you, Kathy. I always have to play around to get my slide advance or arrow to come up. So now we're going to look at the lessons that we've learned over the last 6.5, almost 7 years of implementing this project. And they're listed on this slide, but I'm going to take a minute to talk in detail about each of these. Again, these are the lessons learned from our project. The first one, securing strong organizational support. And you can see on this slide, I've listed a few of our community partners. Obviously, we have over 135. I could not fit all of their logos on this slide. But the point is, we really made sure, and it's really imperative that you have a strong network of organizations supporting your work. One of the things we encountered was, some organizations use paid staff, some use volunteers. A lot of our partners were able to provide space and equipment needs for us. Another important thing is you want folks at some of these organizations who are really champions for your project, and not only at the staff level, right? But we're really looking for that support at the administration level of these organizations so that they can go to their boards, they can go to their invested partners and really make the case for why these programs are so important. And they help with things like scheduling. I can't tell you how many times we have to call one of these organizations and shuffle something around, or can we use a room, right? We need space. We need space to hold programs. We need space to hold trainings. And so working with other organizations who see the benefit, see the good in these programs has been key for us. Of course, it just makes sense, right? These are community-based programs. We need community partners to make it work. The second one is really providing mechanisms so that we can show these organizations the benefits of offering the evidence-based falls prevention programs. And what does that mean? We're able to provide, using some of the data that Dr. Elrod mentioned, that data that we're able to pull from the national database, we can use that and provide one-page summaries to some of our partners that show some of the impact that these programs are having. It can show that participants are reporting increased health. They're reporting an increased quality of life, increased satisfaction with the programs. We can put together these documents. We can add photos. We can add some testimonials. You can see here, I've written a testimonial on this slide, and that is an actual testimonial that we've had people report that, that their health has increased, that their bone density has increased. We've had participants report that they've been able to come off of some medications because their fitness level has increased. And so being able to provide those types of documents to our partners is important. It gives them a tool that they can take to their board, their administrators, and really prove the worth and the benefit to offering these programs. The third lesson I'm going to talk about is determining how building and maintaining that workforce capacity can be achieved early in your implementation process. It can't be stressed enough that we created this regional training office to really help us administer the programs. And we have 2 staff that work out of that, a training coordinator as well as an outreach assistant. They help us to the logistics, right? Just the logistics of running these programs, the logistics of coordinating trainings, setting up the registration on our website, being able to make sure that we can meet that demand for leaders. We've been running about 4 leader trainings a year through Marymount. We've also gone out and done some out in the field. So we've had some partners who have reached out to us and said, hey, we have 10 or 12 of our staff that we'd like to get trained. Can you guys bring the training to us? And of course we say yes. And so we not only do the trainings within our region, mostly in Arlington, I will say, where Marymount is based, but we're willing to take them out anywhere in the region, as well as to directly to some of our partners. And this also helps us maintain fidelity, right? These are evidence-based programs. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that our trained leaders are maintaining the fidelity of the programs. And so we do conduct regular fidelity checks out in the field. We also offer annual updates to all of our trained leaders. We have a bi-monthly newsletter that goes out to all of our trained leaders so that we can stay connected with them. And so these are just some of the little pieces that have enabled us to keep track of our leaders, keep them engaged, and make sure that we're matching that supply of leaders with the demand. Our fourth lesson learned is creating some sort of an internal spreadsheet or mechanism for keeping track of your communications. One of the things that we learned early on is that each of our partners operates in a very different way. We could not operate with a one-size-fits-all communication mechanism for this project. So we also had, 6, 7, 8 staff members and project staff members working at any given time. And so we used an Excel spreadsheet that we've been able to track our trained leaders, track who attends the annual updates. We can also keep track of where programs are happening, where we've done presentations, what health fairs and other community events are happening. And all of us have access to that spreadsheet so that we can go on at any time and see, has this organization already signed up for a program, right? Who was the last person who had contact with this organization? And so it's really been critical, and it's grown. It's quite massive at this point in time. It's really grown over time, but for us, it has been an invaluable tool. The fifth one is consider incentives for completing data collection if you are trying to get your leaders or other members of your community to help you collect some data. As Dr. Elrod mentioned, we are required to at least request that our partners collect data for us. And so that is for the most part a pre and a post survey, as well as attendance records. And so we want to be able to go to our funder, right? Our funder wants to be able to go to other people in the federal government and say that these programs are working, these programs are reaching the intended audience, these programs are having an impact on falls in the community. And so they ask us to collect the data. We ask our trained leaders to collect the data. While we request it, we cannot require it. So it is optional for leaders as well as the participants to complete the data. So we've, over the years, we've tried some things. We've always been willing to go to sites and offer to help read that informed consent script that we read at the beginning of each of our programs. we've offered to come out, either the faculty, we also have some graduate students that we work with that will come out and perhaps help with collecting the data, sitting with some of the older adults, helping them complete the forms if needed. And in the case of SAIL, right, we're willing to go out and help with the fitness checks for those of you who are familiar with SAIL. So we did try our best to make it easy. Something we didn't really do, but we've thought about even offering a small stipend to sites and instructors if we think that might help. But again, we really went out of our way to make it as easy as possible for our leaders to complete the data. And one thing that came about because of COVID is using Google Forms so that some of our virtual programs were able to collect the same data as our in-person classes. And of course, we've mentioned it a few times, and it bears mentioning again, and that is, develop and nurture a strong community connection. We've mentioned the Alliance. It's grown over the last 7 years. It's a group that we meet quarterly. We now meet virtually, which is very nice and convenient for a lot of our partners. We have a professional development, or perhaps we invite one of our partners to give a brief presentation at the beginning of a meeting. We give project updates on our grant, and then we allow time for networking. And that's where all of our partners can share what's happening at their organizations. We can compare notes on who's doing what for Falls Prevention Awareness Week. We can ask for help. We can share flyers. We can share all of our efforts. And that's really how we all get together and, attend the health fairs and attend the falls risk screenings that we do. We seem to be very busy in September and October, again, surrounding that Falls Prevention Awareness Week. But we do presentations and we do health fairs year round. We also have a website, and on our website we have we're getting ready to redo it. I think I feel like everybody redoes their website every so often, but we have a lot of really great information for older adults, for their caregivers. We have information for our leaders. They can go to a password protected section of our website and get all the documents that they need. They can find the data collection forms there. And then we also have a listing of all of our current programs so that older adults out in the community can easily find our programs. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Elrod for some concluding remarks.
Thanks, Sarah. Finally, to help summarize some of our findings, here are some key factors that influence successful implementation of the programs. As we've said, key advocates at host organizations were key. Having a champion at a host organization who's willing to try to fight for getting that program to be delivered there really makes a difference. Having programs embedded into site workflows also help, so that it's an expected sort of delivery of either staff or pulling it into volunteers, so that there is an expectation that SAIL or a matter of balance will be delivered and be delivered on a somewhat regular basis. It also gets buy-in from the community. So older adults who have friends that would like to participate will know that perhaps a new SAIL program will be coming at a particular site. Critical to have sufficient capacity in workforce. Turnover happens. Staff leaves that might be delivering that a matter of balance or that SAIL leaving program. Volunteers come and go. And so you want to make sure you have sufficient capacity so that when new implementation sites say, hey, I'd like to start running a SAIL program, there are leaders available to be able to start that new program, as well as to continue to lead the programs that are currently in existence. Clearly, you want to have engaged, invested partners and stakeholders. That's what allows this to work. The community and the university are working collectively together to enhance the health of the older adults through these falls prevention efforts. And finally, you have to have flexibility in working with these complex sets of agencies and systems. They have different administrative structures. And so we need to be able to learn from what worked with one agency or organization, and then perhaps restructure it to make it successful in that new agency to be able to deliver the programs that they want to be able to deliver. So in conclusion, we hope that you've gained some knowledge about how to successfully embed programs into your community. We hope you have a greater understanding about how community academic partnerships can be developed and maintained. And finally, we hope you've learned some strategies to sustain evidence-based falls prevention programming or other health promotion programs for older adults in your community. Thank you so much for attending today's presentation. Both Sarah and I are available and very happy to answer any questions you have now. And please feel free to reach out to us through email if you have some in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy and Sarah. My name is Julie Reese. I am a fellow in the Center for Optimal Aging, and I am going to moderate questions. A couple of questions came into the chat feature while you were talking. I'm also going to use as many reactions as I can and encourage others to use reactions, since it's a tough sell being a presenter when your audience is not really that visible to you. So one of the topics that came in over the chat, I'll start with, and while I'm talking, I invite others to either raise their hand using the reactions button if you'd like to ask your question directly of Sarah or Kathy, or feel free to still put questions into the chats if you'd rather that I ask the question on your behalf. There was a question that was put into the chat a little earlier. Celie Garrett, I hope I'm saying your name right, Celie, asked something about, Celie was saying that she has the SAIL program, or has one of the programs running, and is interested in co-hosting a SAIL program. So she may be in contact with you. The question I wanted to talk about in the chat had to do with Zoom and doing remote training. And I know we pivoted to Zoom when you needed to in the COVID time. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about your Zoom pivot and how that has maintained in any way, or how that plays into your future plans for some of the programming.
So I sort of hear two sort of things, right? Just to clarify, one is about virtual training of leaders, and one could be virtual delivery of programs. Just want to sort of, I don't know if there's a clarification there, because they are different.
Yeah, can you hit both?
Sure. Sarah, do you want to hit it?
I'll start, and then Kathy, feel free to add. Sure. So with Matter of Balance during when COVID first hit, Matter of Balance programs all stopped. That program is administered by the state of Maine Health Department. They took the first most of that year, and they translated the Matter of Balance program to a virtual format. And so we are now able to deliver Matter of Balance virtually. We do currently have, and have had over the last year and a half, virtual Matter of Balance programs. In order to be a coach for the virtual Matter of Balance, someone has to first be trained to deliver Matter of Balance in person, and then they have to take a second 3-hour training that trains them to deliver it virtually. Again, we are offering that virtually, and we do have trained leaders who can offer it virtually as well. For SAIL, it's a little bit different. SAIL is a program that's out in the public domain. The guidance for SAIL when COVID first hit was you can offer SAIL to people who have taken in-person SAIL in the past. And so that's what we did. We started, as well as some of our partners. I think there were 3 or 4 of our community partners who also opted to offer SAIL virtually. So we did do that. Marymount still has a virtual SAIL class running. We are now running it pretty much year round. It has a few challenges in that, it's hard to see everybody when you're leading a SAIL class and everyone is on Zoom. It's also a little bit more challenging to do the fitness checks. We do still offer the fitness checks in person. A lot of folks who take SAIL virtually opt not to do that. But there are some legal liability issues surrounding offering SAIL virtually that that leaders just need to be aware of. So Kathy, anything to add?
No, I would just say on the training side of things, currently in our region, we are offering SAIL as a leader in person only, although it is on our agenda, and we're looking to try to perhaps find some funding to support transitioning to being able to offer SAIL leader training in an asynchronous virtual format. For a matter of balance again comes from the state of Maine. And so currently when we do our matter of balance training it's in person. And then we can do a virtual training of leaders who are going to be leading it virtually because you want to mimic the environment in which you are going to be delivering the program. But again, at this point in time, both of the leader trainings, if you're looking at it from in our region, are currently offered in person, but we're looking to change that. There are other programs, SAIL, you can become a SAIL leader by going through Pierce College, and they do have a very different type of format for SAIL leaders. So there are options that are for people that are interested in becoming a SAIL leader that is virtual, and then a matter of balance, Googling it and looking at what the Maine's Health offers would give a better understanding of where you might be able to go to get some a matter of balance leader training or coach training if you don't happen to be within our particular area, if that's something that interests you.
Great. There was a question in the chat from our friend Link Cummings that has to do with fall training. And he was curious as to whether a matter of balance has within its curriculum any information about how to fall. You know, relax, don't tense up, go with it.
Sure.
Is there anything in the curriculum related to that?
Sure, I'll take that one because I tend to do it quite often. I am a physical therapist also, as you guys probably have seen. And within the matter of balance curriculum, a guest healthcare professional comes in to a session. And part of that session is to talk about falling and what to do if you've fallen and how to get up off of the floor. And so a part of that discussion is, what are some strategies you can do to perhaps help minimize the risk of injury if you happen to recognize you are falling? So there is a discussion portion as well as a demonstration of how to get up off the floor, but the participants don't practice anything. It is not a session or a program in which participants actually get to practice safe fall landing and strategies associated with falling. Same thing with SAIL. SAIL does not provide information on safe fall landing or strategies how to get up off of the floor. It is a straight fitness program.
All right, great, thanks. I learned a little something there. Carla from Sioux Falls, South Dakota wants to know, are students involved in offering any of your programs?
Yes, they are. We have interns who work with our project, and all of our interns are able to take both the SAIL and the matter of balance training. We've also had some of our students volunteer and assist with the Otago program in some area assisted living facilities. And we are also, this semester, we're offering a service learning course to our graduate students, and we have a group of students offering matter of balance in person, and we have another small group offering it virtually right now. They just finished their third week of matter of balance, both of those groups. So yes, students can participate in that service learning course. They can participate as interns. They can also participate as volunteers.
And can you talk a little bit about how that's been received by the students? So what's their experience of participating in these activities?
So my experience, and I'll let Kathy talk, she's done it a couple more times than I have, has been great. They really enjoy working with the older adults. I know with the service learning course that we're running right now, they complete a journal every couple of weeks. They have to complete a journal entry and answer a couple of prompts like, have your thoughts or any misconceptions that you had about older adults maybe have changed. What are your thoughts and feelings about working with older adults? Generally, it's been very positive. And again, I'll let Kathy answer as well.
Yes, to say the same thing. A lot of hesitancy initially from some of the students and working with the older adult population, just because of lack of interactions. And they come out of it as, wow, I've learned so much. I've learned so much about myself and my own biases and how that has changed, as well as the capabilities of older adults in sort of reframing what they thought they were able to do both physically and mentally. And the older adults, on the flip side, because I did a project a couple years ago collecting some data looking at students' perceptions of working with older adults, delivering a matter of balance, and then also took a look at the older adults' perceptions of having students lead them. And we found that the students, the effectiveness of the program was the same being student delivered as it is being delivered by adult lay leaders that are not students, so that we got the same effectiveness. And then the benefit was both intergenerational compassion. So the older adults really felt like they gained from hearing from young adults talking about falls prevention. And then the young adults, the students, really gained from having 8 weeks of interaction. And so the data supported that's an effective delivery from students, as well as that there was the added benefit of the intergenerational interaction.
Yeah, and I think that that's so cool to hear that, you know, that was supported. And it's one of the things that at the Center for Optimal Aging, we really are striving to figure out how to best do intergenerational activities, programming, things that will get young, middle, and older people together so that we can really capitalize on those relationships and the benefits of them. That's very cool. So we have a question from Brittany, and it's related to Otago and implementation of Otago, and Otago's use in the group setting. So she's asking, have we done it in a group? How's the participant to leader ratio? What are we thinking about for safety? How are the fall risk levels mixed or one level in each group? Do you want me to take it?
I'll say, Julie, you know, the reality is Julie has played a larger role in the most recent sort of adaptations of Otago, because originally we really tried to do it in its more traditional format of it being delivered by a physical therapist initially, and then having some other role healthcare providers kind of come in and assist a bit with it. And it just was very hard to actually get that type of traditional model accepted at a level that made sense. And so we did start to look, how do we do it more in a group-based format? And that's where I'd love to defer it. We'd love to defer it to Julie to let her share what her experience is with the more group-based format for Otago. Thank you, Julie.
Well, and we have an Otago. I'm not sure if Michelle is here. Michelle, if you're here, feel free to unmute
Yes.
yourself and join in the party. We have an Otago person, a designated Otago person on the grant, who's really working to try to disseminate Otago training and to help individual settings be able to start the program. What we've done, so there is some training that has been done where we've sent people to the University of North Carolina training site, because part of Brittany's question also went on to ask about, do we use the UNC training or our own curriculum? And we've done both. We have developed through the grant a more internal kind of training program as well that we've provided for several different settings. And then really our implementation of Otago in a group setting has been more with individuals with cognitive impairment than it has anyone else. So right now we have a couple of programs running with Otago. One is a group-based setting at an adult day health center, and they're just now getting started with it, but we've helped them to kind of figure out how to best implement it safely. So these are individuals with mild cognitive impairment or dementia, and they're working in a small group in an adult day health program where the full staff has been trained on delivering Otago. So we'll have to kind of let you know how that goes. We've brought it into other adult day health centers, and that was a project where we were able to integrate students. So I hear it within the question, concern about safety. We are concerned about safety as well, especially in this population. And so we've implemented it in places where we had the ability to up the staff for safety through students or through volunteers at the adult day health programs. Okay, Patricia asks, we understand a broad and diverse community partnership is important. Oh, there's Patricia. I didn't know if you put it in the chat. I thought you wanted me to ask it. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, I was just curious about building those relationships. It's so important for the program. So what it takes to build successful relationships, because that is the center of the program. And is there a specific community partner that is essential for the success of the program?
I don't think I would say there is one community partner that is successful to our project. I think that, building those relationships takes time because you have to build trust. I know that, by our growth of the Alliance has allowed us to do that, right? Providing people with the opportunity to hear about our project. We invite people to participate in all aspects of our project. That networking that goes on in those meetings. It takes time and it takes time to build that trust. We have folks from the government, we have nonprofits, we have home care agencies, we have our major hospital systems are members of the Alliance, individual partners, other senior serving nonprofits, right? Senior Services of Alexandria, for example, local villages. It's really far-reaching when we think about the different sectors that are represented in our Alliance. And I don't think I could say that one is more important than the other. Our AAAs are all involved. And again, our hospital systems, really help us reach out to the broad community.
And I will say it did take time, and I want to specify that because we started with 17 individuals or representatives of organizations initially. And these were people that were really falls prevention driven, and many of them were health promotion programs driven. So, if you think about who does it start to succeed, really working with those that are already invested in delivering health promotion programs to older adults. And then once things start happening, word of mouth gets out there. And then that's when connections can really start to happen. And if you have a mechanism for communication so that you can say, hey, you're interested, come on in. We'd love for you to hear what we're doing. That then gets more interest. And then they see the value. And that's what allowed this Alliance to grow to 135 members. So I think part of it is not necessarily a key stakeholder, although you probably are going to start with those that are closest aligned to what you're trying to do. So we wanted to deliver programs that were health promotion-based programs. So we went to the organizations that were already familiar with it. But I think it was even more critical to build a mechanism, which was this Alliance steering committee that built into Alliance that met quarterly, that people started seeing we have similar interests. Who else has similar interests? What about transportation? What about ERs? What about other organizations that are interested in optimizing the health? And I think I think that was really critical, is to have that a way for continued collaboration to occur, which then allowed us to build and build and build and get to this point in time where we feel very blessed that we have a large community of interested partners that really want to work together and share into their newsletters what's happening with somebody else, rather than it just being very siloed, which is where we were when we started in 2016.
Great. There's a question from Tiffany at George Mason University, and she asked, are you comparing the efficacy of the 3 programs that you're running? And is there any difference between what you're finding with SAIL or Notago?
We're heading in that direction, I would say, in looking at the data. What we do know is these evidence-based programs are effective. And when we've done some initial looks at the data, they're effective here, just like they happen to be effective elsewhere, which is what the research is showing. What we're trying to determine, and I think is important, perhaps to speak slightly differently to perhaps what you're asking, is who's best served by these programs? Because these programs offer different activities and different outcomes. SAIL is a fitness forward. It's 55 minutes of active movement. So it is an exercise program where Matter of Balance, you sit in chairs and you have conversations and you're problem solving, except for about 30 minutes when you're doing several seated and several standing simple exercises, trying to introduce the participant to what it means to exercise. So efficacy side of things is, I think it's really important that you have the right participant, the right older adult, to fit into the right program so that they get buy-in and they see the benefit, and then they're more willing to continue with exercise later. And so they'll go into another community-based program, a yoga program, a ballroom dancing program, whatever it is that interests them, and they continue to be physically active and they continue to do things. And so I think the next step is sort of to try to say, who's the best fit? When you look at efficiency, then what do you need in order to best run those programs so you get a return on investment that works for you, for the financial and input that you're putting in and what you're getting out of it. So that's a great question. We just don't have the answers, but we're starting to, and we'd love to talk to other people to start to tease through how best to move these forward.
All right, great. Michelle Romano has a hand up for a question. And so I think Yordi's going to pin you, Michelle, so that you can ask your question.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Romano. I'm a retired physician and active with OCHR Lifelong Learning. I'm co-chair of the Science, Technology, and Health. And if you know anything about GMU, OCHR Lifelong Learning, we're highly educated, very active adult learners. Have you all ever thought about training the actual people that will be using you're talking about training staff, partners, students, faculty, but training some of the active adults themselves, walk in my shoes type thing. Just a thought.
Absolutely. It is a key individual that we would love to target and are targeting to actually lead these programs. So active older adults who would love to lead a Matter of Balance or SAIL or even be a participant in Otago, we are all over that. And we would love to have more active older adults take on that role. It would really help our workforce. And we think it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the older adults who are participating in the programs, and it's a win for the older adult who's leading the program. So thank you so much for bringing that forward. And I would say anything we can do or anyone in the community that can help us to get older adults to become leaders, we would like to collaboratively work with them.
And we do have some. We do have some older adults who are leading both SAIL and Matter of Balance. We are, of course, always open for more. And we are working with that institute at George Mason. So you'll be seeing our programs very soon out there.
Great, thank you. And if there's anything I can do, I'm also on the OLLI GMU board. So might be
wonderful.
We could all work together on.
I had a meeting with Jennifer just last week, so you will be seeing us listed in your program very soon.
Great.
Thank you.
We're running down to our last 5 minutes, but another question that is in the chat. Can you speak to your success in getting programs to underserved populations or populations that you had hoped to be able to reach, when you were setting out to do this project?
Sure.
I'll mention something initially. So of course, when we first started, we wanted our programs everywhere. We wanted our programs available to everyone. We weren't as successful reaching some of those underserved groups in our first couple of years. We hired an outreach assistant last summer, and she has really, Carmen, I think you're out there. She has really helped us get into Spanish-speaking organizations and some lower income serving organizations. We've worked with congregate meal sites throughout the region, working to make sure that these programs are accessible. That work continues, right? That is work that will never be done. Because we do, as we have said, we want these programs to be accessible to everyone. So Kathy, will you share your perspective?
No, I think that we went for initially where we could get the programs out there so that the community could recognize the importance of these programs. And then in doing so, we realized we did not meet all older adults where they're at. And it was important for us to then sort of reframe and refocus. And that's where we're at now, is reframing and refocusing so that we can continue to deliver the programs to the older adults we are meeting. But our challenge is to do better and to go out and find out how we can meet those that we are not able to get those programs to, so that all older adults have the opportunity to participate if they so choose.
Great, thank you. So the SAIL training that's upcoming at the university, I wonder if you want to put in a little plug for that as we're winding down.
I think, Carmen, do you have anything to add to the last?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm right here. We
I
have,
know.
sure.
Go ahead, Carmen. Tell us
Yeah,
what you've been up to.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just gonna say that we had just finished 2 SAIL classes in 2 senior centers, and we're getting ready to start one in April in Washington, DC. And we have also finished 2 MOB classes in Arlington. If there are any questions that I can answer, I'll be more happy to. I know that we are about to finish this wonderful presentation. I want to congratulate you, ladies. This was an excellent presentation. So as Sarah said, I've been working for the past, I started last September, at the end of September, and the Hispanic community has received this program, with open arms. They have been very much engaged, and I'm really looking forward to the next year or so, or the next few years, because they really need this program. They have embraced this program. So looking forward to work with you guys in the near future.
And I would say anyone would like to get in touch with Carmen, just send me an email, reach out to us on our website, and we'll get you in touch with Carmen.
Or see pastor at Marymount.edu. Yeah, very easy.
There you go. Patricia, was one of the students going to talk about the SAIL training, or did you want me to?
Sorry, why don't you go ahead, Sarah, because we have 2-3 minutes to talk about it. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
So we are pleased to be offering, we offer several every year, but we're having sort of a special Stay Active and Independent for Life SAIL Leader training coming up at the end of April. You can see the times are listed there. It is going to be held here in Arlington. So of course, primarily focused on those of you who are in our area. But we are excited for Marymount faculty, students, and staff. The training is going to be free because the Center for Optimal Aging is going to pay for that. And then our regular registration fee for community members is $40. And it says light refreshments will be served. So that's also exciting. So if you're interested in becoming a SAIL leader, or you know somebody who is, please share this information with them. The information is also available on the Center for Optimal Aging's website.
I just want to say that I just wanted to say that the student chapter of the Gerontological Society of America is the one that's actually working through the MCOA, the Marymount Center for Optimal Aging, and producing and hosting this activity. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So this is open to anyone, right?
Anyone.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we've hit 5 o'clock, and I want to give another round of applause and a big fat thank you to our speakers today. This has been a great presentation, and attended by our highest number of individuals yet for our colloquium. They're growing time by time. So thank you again, Sarah and Kathy. We really appreciate your sharing your research and your community partnerships today. And thank you everyone for coming.
Yeah, and I will ask Sarah and Kathy to add their emails in the chat if someone want to contact them directly.
Sure.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. Thank you to our participants for making the time. I know this is such a competitive schedule, and thank you for attending and supporting our colloquium. Have a wonderful day. I would say evening.